Hi all, and welcome to Carnivore News. It's been a while since I posted anything. Guess quite a few things have happened in the interim, but I guess I want to take this particular video in a slightly different direction, and that is to start off with the basic principle of honesty and science, because the more I research and the more I study nutrition and health and longevity, the more I realize how much misinformation there is out there. And the truth, the bottom line, is that nobody really knows what the hell is going on. And that's just the truth. Even in the carnivore space, I know a lot of people are getting good responses, but the truth is, even in this space of what to eat and how much to eat and when to eat, and exactly what works the best in terms of carnivore nutrition. Even in that space, seems to be a lot of misinformation and confusion. People saying they know the right answers when they don't really. I wish people would just say, I don't really know. And nobody's admitting when they're wrong. I mean, I've been wrong so many times, to be honest, along this journey. Even some of my previous videos, I've made some what I now believe to be misstatements, even though at the time, based on the information and feedback I had received, I thought a particular thing, and now I've found it out to be wrong. I think this is a journey, and I think all the speakers in the carnivore space need to take the approach similar to Elon Musk. How can we be less wrong? Because we're probably wrong most of the time. And to admit we're wrong when we're wrong is key to fixing the wrongness. The thing that comes to mind is HbA1c and carnivore. And in a previous video, I had said that it was my belief based on my understanding of what I'd heard and what I'd read, that the reason HbA1c in carnivores may be higher than the regular population on occasion, or higher than you would expect for a person eating so little sugar, was because the red blood cell was living longer, and therefore there was a longer period of time for glucose to glycate the hemoglobin in the red blood cell, and therefore the HbA1c was going higher. On listening to a recent interview with Bart Kay, I think he made a pretty good point where he said it's more based on eating too much protein, maybe, and getting insulin spikes, or glucose, not insulin spikes, rather glucose spikes. It kind of makes sense to me, but once again, we don't really know. Although that, I don't know if Bart's got some inside research information that I'm not privy to, where he's getting this information, but logically it kind of makes sense. And he does tend to seem to have his finger on the pulse of what seems to be accurate in the research literature. I don't know where he got this information from, but it does make more sense. So maybe that's one of the reasons. And one of the things he said is important is to, in terms of cramping, which is another issue that has pretty much resolved for me. I mean, I went almost 3 years carnivore now, and I went through like almost 2 years of cramping on a regular basis, almost every day, basically. The last 3 4 months, I've maybe cramped once, which is kind of interesting. Don't really know why, which is just a matter of your body finally sorts itself out. One theory, according to Bart K, is that right now I'm usually having about mainly one meal a day and eating a lot of, a big meal. That's causing my protein level to go way up in my blood, which causes and fat, I guess. Although I'm trying to prioritize a little bit more protein, that might cause a glucose spike, and that leads to an insulin spike, and therefore you don't get the cramping. What Bart K is saying is the glucose level, if the protein level is too low and doesn't lead to um, an insulin spike, this can lead to leaking of electrolytes through the kidneys that leads to, I guess, electrolyte loss and therefore cramping. Kind of makes sense. He seems to know what he's talking about. Once again, I'd love to see specific studies or evidence or some kind of pathophysiology where they're looking at slides in the kidneys or electron microscopy or some kind of scientific process where they can actually prove that this is exactly what's going on. And maybe he has that information. But from what I've seen so far, maybe the purpose of this particular video is on carnivore, it's good to have one big meal a day at least. You want to maintain your protein mass in your body, musculature, get that insulin spike to prevent the cramping. Obviously, you don't want to be taking in glucose. This idea of taking in glucose is a big mistake. The body must make the glucose from the protein as it needs it. Taking in outside glucose that causes glycation and all kinds of problems is not the way to go, in my opinion. And once again, it's opinion. Could easily be wrong, but I don't think I am. And according to Bart K, too much protein or glucose definitely causes inflammation. Even too much protein, if you're having it multiple times a day, it's multiple hits of inflammation. So rather just have it once a day. And maybe that's accurate too. Once again, it'd be nice to see some exacting proof on all of this, but the only thing we can really go on, or I can really go on right now, is how I feel and what I respond to best so far. Um, and so far, that's what it seems to be. But I might be wrong. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for listening.